We had to end our last session because Grahame was breaking up. And we are waiting him to reconnect. We're talking about having a meeting, establishing something. For like-minded Reformed churchmen with a prayer book. Grahame is now returning. And that will be the immediate pickup, a meeting. I have Zoom, so I can get up to 100 people and can go for unlimited amount of time. How about, can you hear me now? I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear you.
I'm muted, sorry.
There you go.
Me now?
Yeah, that's better.
Jolly
okay.
Good. So Don, the arrangement at the moment, did you get an email from me or a WhatsApp? I think I sent you a WhatsApp. Whether you got that or not, I don't know. But the arrangement Stephen has suggested and that he's willing to participate in is 5 o'clock on Tuesday, any Tuesday, and I suggested next Tuesday, which is it's the 15th, Don, the 15th of July. That's actually Tuesday week.
Yeah, at 5 p.m. British time.
5 p.m. British time, which is not bad for you. I think it's about your lunchtime.
No, let me just make a note of that. 15 July, that would be 1 p.m. my time. Are we 4 hours different?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. You're in North Carolina, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not get WhatsApp. I don't use WhatsApp. Can you send the connection to my email?
Okay. I'll send you the details by email. And would you be able to then arrange with the guys there, especially Joe Busfield and Ryan Underwood?
I would definitely extend that to them. Yes.
And possibly you might want to include Aaron. I don't know.
I would include Aaron. I would include everybody who's in Twisse House. Anybody who wants to attend. They're all Reformed and Reformed prayer book people.
Yeah. And hopefully it'll be okay for South America as well, Chile and Brazil.
I will include Bishop Jesus Espinoza, Archbishop Uzzo, Cristiano Bolano, and some of those men. Now, if it's 1 p.m. Eastern time, I think that would be a couple of hours earlier in South America. 11 a.m.
Yeah, I'll tell you what time that is in South America. That will be Buenos Aires will be 1 o'clock.
Same time.
And Santiago, Chile will be 12 o'clock. And Boone, North Carolina will be 1 o'clock as well.
What about Chile? I think Mariano Salquerro is there.
Mariano's he's out in Buenos Aires, and that will be at 1 o'clock. 5 o'clock is 1 o'clock. So hopefully he's not working at that time. He might be working.
Yeah. Now, would you want this to be put to YouTube?
Um, well, I think it's important for people to be able to listen into it if they want, because eventually I think what I'm hoping will come out of it is some sort of protest and some sort of insistence that we want to stand with Steve and Hannah to send a strong message, a united message from the Connection group, or those who are sympathetic to the Reformed part of the Free Church of England, to say, we insist on constitutional procedure being followed. That's our right to insist that the Constitution be abided by. You can't just ignore the procedures that are set up in our Constitution. The trouble is, of course, they've changed their Constitution, so goodness knows what they do now if they want to get rid of somebody. Their track record is that they just dismiss them.
This is so unbrotherly, unloving, unkind. I was working through and am working through the Sermon on the Mount, and I came across the Golden Rule and the limitations to that. For example, a lawyer, a policeman, law enforcement, they would want to do, the idea is that they should want to do good to the offender as private persons. But as public persons, they cannot fulfill that. They have to abide by the law, enforce the law, even while they wish good things for the offender. And so when we talk about the church, the duty of love one to another, this is being viciously violated once again without concern for Steve Hannah. What about his wife? What about his children? What about the families of the wardens? What about the 30 people and their families? Where is the love and where is Christ in all of this?
Yeah. Yeah. What's to be gained by anybody, most of all themselves? I mean, what are they going to do with this building once they've got it? Probably are they just going to empty it again, or what?
Probably put the money in the account.
But what about the congregation and the witness of the congregation and the need to have a gospel church in the community? I mean, this is a very popular seaside resort in the United Kingdom, and also one of our oldest churches. So, you don't just rip all that up and throw it away without a by your leave. So I think the purpose of our meeting, or what we must try and encourage people to do, is send a united message, a very strong united message to the perpetrator, who you reckon is Paul Hunt rather than Mark Gredison. But maybe they're all in it together and insist that the Constitution be abided by. Otherwise they're just going to be like they did with Brett Murphy. They're just going to ignore them. And I hope Steve Hannah and his men, his leadership, have the strength and the courage to just ignore an arbitrary decree from the bishop.
I am told by my confidential informant that Steve Hannah has repeatedly said he has left the FCE.
Yeah, he told me that he's following Joseph Rossello's line there, you see. Because Joseph, and not so long ago, before Joseph left for Spain, he and Steve Hannah and Arthur Kay, they all met at his church and had I think it was a I think it was just a communion service, so it might have been a baptism or something. There was some special occasion that he presided over, did Bishop Rosello Joseph. So they are they're probably following Joseph's line that they personally are no longer in the Free Church of England, which means they're handing the church over to Central Trust, I presume.
Well, that's what my confidential informant said. If he keeps saying he's not in the FCE, he's already taken himself out, and the FCE has a right to the buildings. And my
Yeah,
confidential
that's
informant
exactly it.
supports Steve Hanna and has told Steve Hanna various times, don't do that. Stay, still be FCE, still preach the gospel
Yeah,
doctrines
yeah,
without compromise. There's nothing to be gained by saying I'm up and leaving. Rather, he should,
yeah.
that's like abandoning, excuse me, abandoning your post in time of war. If I was the rector pastor there, I would stay and put up a doctrinal fort, castle walls around my church and talk doctrine all day long.
Well, I don't know what good we could do if he's walked out. You know, if he walks out and leaves the church to Central Trust, then there's nothing much we could do because it is, at the end of the day, a decision of the local church as to whether they want to belong to the Free Church of England or not. If Steve Hanna decides, he and his wardens decide they're going to walk out of the building, then, or walk out of the Free Church of England, they've got to walk out of the building.
Yeah.
So our meeting on Tuesday is not going to help much if he's just going to walk out.
Yeah. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. And if you get me
Yeah.
that, is it a Zoom link you're using for
Well,
Tuesday?
I was hoping you'd be able to give us a link,
I can
Don,
definitely,
because
I can send
you're in
that.
touch with the guys there.
You're talking about getting you a link for the 15th of July.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I will get that soon as we're done here today. I will get that to
Okay.
you and a whole bunch of people. I might even be
Excellent.
inclined to invite Hunt and Bredesen and Stephen.
Yeah. Why not? Let them answer for themselves rather than us pondering what did or did not happen.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
Steve hasn't responded to me yet. He's not telling me what this indictment is all about. But
I will
you know,
definitely,
unless he's
I will definitely get that to you.
okay, I think we should give it a go, Don. I'm so encouraged that the Brett Murphy incident ended the way it did, and there's no reason whatsoever why I can't think of any reason why the Exeter saga shouldn't end the same. You know, just stick to your guns, stay within the Free Church of England, carry on preaching the gospel,
Yep.
and trust the Lord to sort out all this animosity and this acrimony from the Free Church of England Central Trust.
I completely agree with that. I would preach the gospel, and even if they came after him doctrinally, I would keep preaching the gospel.
Yeah,
And I would ask Steve to help you and me to stand for the old FCE and the old REC and not retreat.
yeah. Well, he sounds like he's reluctant to do that because when Rosello visited there, I said to him, you know, mention to Rosello that you know the both Exeter and yourself Exmouth, sorry, and yourselves there in Exeter, you still regard yourselves as in the Free Church of England. You haven't left. And that's when he came back with this reply, which I think is really just quoting Rosello, that they've gone on to more congenial grounds. They don't want to stay in the Free Church of England. They've had the Free Church of England in chunks. And you can understand that because he's had such a rough time there. But as I keep pointing out to him, if you walk away, they'll just come in and take over our churches. So you can't just walk away and leave those congregations in the lurch.
Yeah, I'm very encouraged. Does Steve Hanna want to meet weekly or?
No, just for initially to get support, I think. I mean, it was our suggestion. Well, initially, what we offered him was a license. We said we in the connection would be quite happy to license him, and he said no. He was happy to stay just contending with this himself, him and his wardens. And then I said, well, can we at least support you in that, and can we meet and have a consultation about it? And that's when he came up with this meeting on a Tuesday night. But he hasn't confirmed as yet whether he's planning to be there on the 15th or not. And
when you say Tuesday night, you mean 5 p.m.?
Yeah, it's our 5 p.m.
Okay.
Tuesday evening.
Okay.
Tuesday evening, yeah. It's five in the evening.
By the way,
1700 hours.
when you and I do our Theological Gabfest like we're doing now, we get a lot of hits on YouTube.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that some of the FCE crowd, including Fennick and his wife, and including Boy Firth, are still subscribed to the YouTube channel. So they may be watching and listening as you and I talk. And we're all about transparency, openness, getting the facts, preserving the facts, promoting the facts. And we want openness. And I'd love to have Hunt and Gredison come in and share what their vision is, set down some facts. Same for Steve Hanna. We have nothing to fear. Truth never fears investigation.
Yeah, well, as I say, in this correspondence between Trevor Jordan and Mark Gredison, Gredison is very reluctant to have some other letter of his published. And I read in between the lines, he talks about it being not controversial. So it looks like he's trying to pacify Exeter because of the action that's been taken against them by Paul Hunt. But how he finds himself in that position, I'm not sure, because, as I say, Paul Hunt is not a litigious sort of person and not confrontational. So how it is that that Hunt is bringing this, has instigated this High Court indictment, I don't know.
I'm not so.
And Gredison steps in as the peacemaker. It just doesn't make sense to me at all.
I'm not so sure Hunt. He may be a backdoor man, backroom man, but I think there's got to be hidden malice and greed that's going on here. In fact, I was pondering the fifth and sixth commandment with the Westminster Larger Catechism this week, and how Hunt Gredison have violated the fifth and sixth commandment with being provocative, and because the sixth commandment deals with murder, but it also deals with provocative speech and this unguarded speech or that provokes anger and contention and passion, which this is doing. We're spending the whole hour here dealing with the contentions and the disruption, and we're dealing with soul murder. It's not a homicide in the technical sense of taking a physical life, but it is injurious. And when it's
Yeah.
injurious and provocative, it's in the same spirit.
Yeah.
Was
And I think when
Jesus,
you're up against, when you're up against that kind of animosity, your natural temptation is to just walk away, isn't it? And seek a more peaceful uh, and congenial company with like-minded people. You don't want to be lumped together with people who are just going to dog your heels the whole time, snap at your heels. You want to be with people who are going to encourage you and help you. I mean, we've got enough opposition from the world without having opposition from the church as well.
and that's where the fifth commandment comes in, that St. Paul tells fathers not to provoke their children to wrath. And as a
Mm.
leader, we, Hunt Gredison, have violated, if we want to call them superiors in the sense as bishops, if we go that route for a moment, they have a duty, if Steve Hanna's doing something wrong, to properly correct and chastise him, as a father does with a child when he corrects him. But then also,
Mm.
fathers are to encourage their children, and when they're doing good stuff, to say, good, good, good. I mean, I was thinking this morning that I was going to talk to Aaron Long about it. One of the things I was able to do financially was to get all of my children through their bachelor's work, which took, I mean, I guess $150,000, scrape my pennies together and help them each get a bachelor's degree. And um, one daughter went on, got her master's, another on her own, and another went on, got his doctorate on his own. So my point here is
Mm.
that as a father, we encourage our children to do well when they're doing well. And that's what Hunt and Gredison should be doing towards Hannah if he's doing a good job. And it sounds like he is.
Yeah,
And that's a
yeah,
failure in leadership by Hunt and Gredison. It's called a sin.
yeah. I wonder, this is what we need to find out. I wonder how much it's the same sort of dispute that we have with them from the connection group. In other words, is it their anti-Calvinism that's turning them against Steve Hunt, or what is it?
Well, that's another aspect. Is Steve Hanna a Calvinist?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think probably not, insofar as he and Rosella are they work, and Arthur work very closely together. And I don't think you'd call Joseph very upfront about his Reformed faith, is he?
I don't know. I just have a big distrust of him theologically.
Yeah, that's it. I haven't got that impression that he's typically Reformed insofar as he believes in the uh, absolute supremacy of Scripture over against sort of modern day prophecies and stuff like that. But maybe we've just never drawn him on the subject, really.
Yeah. Now, how did
But
you,
I guess
how did,
the main issue to work on, as far as the Reformed Evangelical Protestant Free Church of England is concerned, the main thing to work on is Steve Hanna, are you going to lead that congregation under that umbrella, or are you going to bail out? Are you going to be ousted from your position and refuse to make that stand? Because if you don't, there's nothing we can do as a connection, or anybody who's like-minded with the connection. There's nothing we can do to make him make that stand, is there?
And you've
We can't
offered him uh,
a
to be
license.
licensed,
We said we'd license him, but
and he
he won't
turned.
make that stand at the moment. At the moment, he's not willing to make that sort of stand. You see, which is what is worrying me at the moment.
I got you.
If he's not willing to make that stand with us, and we with him, if we're not like-minded on the score, that we're going to make a common stand against the Free Church of England ecumenical, then there's not much point in us having this meeting, really. He's got to be willing to stand with us and nail his colors to the mast,
I don't know why they call them FCE ecumenical. I know Fennec goes in that direction. I would suggest a more accurate name, FCE indifferentists. They have to
Yeah,
compromise. They have to compromise doctrine to go in that ecumenical direction.
yeah.
And they
Well,
insist upon that
the the the,
view.
ti- the title comes from his. This paper we're dealing with now makes it very obvious that they wanted a wider definition of the Free Church of England, didn't they? So
Yes,
that's where the title comes from.
which
And
requires
that goes,
doctrinal compromise. Even the popes in the early 20th century, mid 20th century, saw the ecumenical movement as a way of compromising the faith. So they did not want to participate in the ecumenical movement. Now, they did start talking with Anglicanism, Lutheranism, and some others. But one of the popes said, if we're to go the ecumenical movement, that's the wrong direction. We have all the truth we need, and we are the true church, and you need to come our way. One of the popes said that. And
yeah,
so many different groups, Baptists in particular, have been very wary of ecumenical talks as compromising their doctrines. Some of the confessional Lutherans, same thing. You must compromise doctrine for the higher good of structural, visible unity. And I think Fenney bought into that, and I think he saw a way to strong arm the FCE into doctrinal compromise because he's an indifferentist. I mean, how can you have an Anglo-papist in your church in London and you not stand up and oppose Calvin Robinson?
Hmm. Well, you know what? There's inconsistency there as well, as we've noted before, in that he himself has drawn a line between himself and the Church of England on the matter of ordination of women and their pro-LGBT agenda. So he's not as ecumenical as he makes out he is.
Well, he was with the Archbishop 1992-ish, 1988 to 1992, and it
Yeah.
is of note that Lambeth Conference in 1998 opposed gay marriage and came out against homosexuality. So it's the Church of England that has changed, not um, not
Catholicism.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's not speaking so much now about. This paper we're looking at now is actually out of date as far as the current Free Church of England is concerned, as far as I know, there are no talks, certainly no public talks, no sort of properly, debated discussions within the Free Church of England wider body. There might be between individuals within the Free Church of England and the Church of England, but there's no talk of union. There is recognition that our orders are now recognized, and that we can share one another's buildings or whatever and pulpits, but there's no talk of union, physical union, as far as I'm aware, within the Free Church of England anymore.
Even today, I cannot go and do a communion in a Lutheran service. I cannot do a communion service in an Episcopal church. I can't do it in a lot of the different groups. So this ecumenism is a hamster on a hamster wheel that hasn't produced much except doctrinal decline. It has advanced its social agenda, which is big. They've advanced LGBTQ, women's ordination, special projects on racism, liberation theology, and the like. But I don't see it going much further. It's produced nothing, really.
Yeah. Well, do you want to do a couple of these points, Don, or are we going to leave it there for today and carry on tomorrow?
Yeah, let's pick up tomorrow, and I will get you a Zoom link Tuesday, 15 July. Yeah. And I'll get that out.
5 o'clock our time here.
Yeah. Okay,
1 o'clock your time.
Good. Let me close it.
Hopefully that'll be all right for the South Americans. I'm not sure. It depends on if they're working or not.
Yeah. Okay, let me close in prayer.
Hopefully Stephen Hanna will join us for that, and he can express his opinion about where he intends continuing to minister to his people, whether they're going to hive off like Arthur Kay has, or whether they're going to stay like Brett Murphy has, or what are they going to do? And of course, the connection churches, we've just stayed put for the last 20 years. We're not going nowhere, and we're continuing to preach the gospel.
Yeah.
Okie dokes.
Let me close in prayer.
Thank you.
Blessed and eternal God, as we come together, gather your people together to be strong and united, and to fight as a unit, to elevate your word and to magnify your name, and to do so without fear of man. Help us to do things that are right and pleasing. May the meditations of our heart this day be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and Redeemer. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow. Now on Monday again, we've got our fraternal on Monday, Don. So we won't be able to meet on Monday, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But I'll remind you of that nearer the time.
Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, dokes. God bless. Bye.